Scott Myers here with H2O Urban Solutions. This is a video tutorial for entering your time using either your smartphone or tablet in a service that we use called TSheets. You can see in the upper left hand corner of my screen we have the TSheets application. If you do not already have that installed, go to either your Play Store for an Android or your App Store for an iPhone or iPad. Go to your Play Store or App Store, type in TSheets. You can see it finds it here. If I search, it comes up with the icon that looks like that. I've already installed it, but you will go ahead and hit the install button. Wait for it to install. Once it's installed, you can go ahead and open it. I'll go back to my home screen. Select the app called TSheets. Now I've already logged in. First time you're not going to be logged in. Sign out. It'll look like this. You should receive either a text or an email that has information for the company account. If you haven't received one, contact me and I will send you one. Once you have that information, sign in. Use your username and password that I would have sent you as well. If you don't have that, please contact me and I will get that information for you. Enter your username, your password. I've already copied it to my clipboard. Now that you're signed in, it defaults to the time clock. You can see the menu items at the bottom of the screen. You have overview, time clock, time sheets, schedule, and more. Sometimes you'll get a notification saying that your hours are due. That'll show up under the notifications with a 1 and a little red circle or more. It's a little confusing. You would think you'd go to your time clock, but that's for checking in and checking out like a punch clock. We actually go to timesheets. And each time entry is actually what they call a separate timesheet. So you can see for my week, I have my time. It totals each day. You can go into one and review it. You can see your notes. You can edit it using the edit pencil up in the upper right hand corner if you see any mistakes. We are going to enter new time for today, Saturday, October 19th. To do that, you hit the plus button in the upper right hand corner to add a new timesheet entry. It defaults to time in, time out, and you can see the time in, time out over by the dates. It's easier just to do duration, so switch to duration. It defaults to the day that you are entering your entry. Today, Saturday, October 19th. That's correct. I'm going to enter my time. This little clock is a little bit confusing at first, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. It asks you for the hour entry at first. If you would rather just enter the time, you can go to the keyboard and type in your time, 8 hours, 30 minutes. Okay. To do the time clock, it's a little bit different. You go and you drag your hours around what you worked. Let's say it was 7 hours and 45 minutes. Oops, 44, 45. Enter. Now you select a customer. Go to the customer. You can see I've added some favorites at the top of my screen. I can open that and you can see my favorites. You can do that by selecting on the left hand side and hitting star or removing it. If you have a project that you're working on and you'll be entering it regularly, then you can go to that location. Let's say it is small main replacements 2018. I can star that and it'll go into my favorites. Small main replacements. There's some items 01 through 010. Those are non-billable type items, And the main ones that you will use would be near the bottom. Say for personal time off, if you accrue PTO, per diem for travel, holiday, and then after that you can see it starts listing the customers. There's a customer number, which is a number assigned to each customer, and then once you find your customer, then you select it and it'll show the projects that are under there. Let's say this is for an inspector for Caliam Water. Go to Caliam Water, find your project, small main replacements 2018. I select that, or if you had your favorites, you can go into your favorites. Now a service item is required. That's basically assigning what it is that you are doing or performing as either an operator or inspector, an engineer, construction manager. So at the bottom is the operators by alphabetical order. For construction inspector, it falls under construction management, construction inspector. I've already started, but you can select construction inspector for this entry. Then you add a timesheet note at the bottom. It's not required for all entries, but for your primary time, you need to add a description of what it is that you're doing. Or for this case, our inspectors fill out a daily field report, DFR, and so they would enter the DFR number that they assigned for that day, save it, and then we can compare the time entry for your time card against your DFR and make sure everything lines up. Once you have entered your time, you hit Save Timesheet, and it enters that time for that day. You can see at the top we have the job number, small main replacements. You can see the client ID and the duration. If you need to edit that, you can select it, and let's say it was actually 8 hours, not 7:45. We can change that. 8:0. If for some reason you did not have a DFR number, which happens occasionally, then you would edit your time entry, and you would say no DFR period and what it is that you did. Attend pre-construction meeting. And that tells me that a DFR was not created and can give me information to support any questions during billing. I'd save it and then update my timesheet by saving it again. And you can see that I've made those changes. Now to add a per diem for travel, you can't add it to the existing timesheet that you just entered, the 8 hours. You have to actually add it as a separate timesheet entry, which is selecting the plus button again, changing the duration to 1, select the proper date, which is today. For the customer, it's actually the 0009 per diem, add 1 for full day travel. So select that. Service item, you go to P for per diem and it's there, or if you save it in your favorites, it's there. And you don't need to add a timesheet note for this, you just save timesheet. So that's for an inspector. For an operator, you would enter a timesheet entry, duration, October 9th. Let's say you worked 7.5 hours for one of our customers that we do operations for regularly, Golden or Grizzly Flat CSD. Underwater operations, you can see that there are several items. Most of the time you're going to use water system operations, so you select that and enter a note. If it's for maintenance or repairs, if you're doing repairs out in the field, out in the distribution system, or if you're doing maintenance or repairs on some of the equipment at the treatment plant, you would enter that time for maintenance and repairs. For on-call, there's an item 3 on-call. You would add 1 when on-call, so we'll do that as a separate item. Emergency or overtime, you would enter that for coming in on the weekends, or if you are actually working overtime, break up your time into an 8-hour day, and then any of your overtime, go ahead and add overtime. For other customers, for Cal-Am, for inspectors or things like that, just enter your total hours and I'll catch the overtime information. If it's out of scope for this client, then you would put out of scope. That happens for new water services or some other special projects. That way we don't overrun our budget for our operations budget. This one is for water system operations. We're going to enter. The service item would be for an operator. If you already have your operator and level saved in your favorites, you can select that, or you can go to the bottom for water operations or wastewater. I haven't added all the wastewater grades. I'll do that. This is say for operator 2 water, and then you add a timesheet note. For these notes, it does allow up to 2,000 characters, as you can see, but when I do a labor report, it doesn't show the entire 2,000 characters. So be precise and as brief as possible, but give enough details. So if I need to see what it is that you were working on, or to justify some of your time, I can go back into my notes and review it and be able to explain that to the client. So operations, let's say it was daily operations. We sampled back tees and distribution system, calibrated CL17 and turbidimeters on plant 1, or you can even abbreviate that P1. Save space. Save. Now enter save timesheet. So that's for water system operations. Now water operators are often on call, and for that you would do the same thing that you did for, say, a per diem. You would add a separate timesheet entry, hit the plus button, change it to duration, the date, and then default it to 1 hour, which it does. Select the customer, which for on-call, you would select your customer that you're on call for, Grizzly Flat CSD. Under operations, and item 3 you can see is on-call. So we do that. We select operator 2, which is my operator level or grade, and I want to add a timesheet note to be able to clearly indicate whether it's on-call during the weekday, on-call on the weekend, or a holiday. On-call weekend or holiday is paid at a different rate, a little bit higher. So you can type out on-call weekend if you'd like. Today's Saturday. If it's during a weekday, just get rid of the weekend and say on-call. You can hit save. The other thing you can do is you can abbreviate it. And we have a code for OCW for on-call weekend and holiday, or OC for on-call. So today's a weekend day, so on-call weekend, OCW, and I'll save it. Save timesheet, and now you can see I have added my on-call for the day, 1 hour, and water system operations for the day. Now that I've entered all my time, I would review it Sunday through Saturday, and you can see it's been approved already from the previous Saturday, so that I can submit it for my supervisor or manager to review. You can see that this one right here, 2553.xxx, is a temporary placeholder. That is an option for Cal-Am water, which happens regularly, where a new project starts and the job has not been added to my timesheet. I can't find it. So if you encounter this and you can't find your job, ask your supervisor, or for Cal-Am's case, if you know what the job name is and it's not there, then just select this 2553. I'm going to edit it, XXX, and that's at the bottom. You can see it here at the bottom. Let's say that wasn't added when I entered the time, but now at the end of the week, I want to double check and make sure that that's been added. When you can't find your project, please email and text your supervisor, as well as myself, Scott Myers, along with the project name, the project manager. If you have plans sheets, take a picture of the cover sheet, which has a lot of information on it, and I will add that to our accounting software, which then populates the TSheets. So let's say that that project was not in there, but now I can see that it is in here, and it's the small main replacements. I can now change that from the temporary placeholder project and select my small mains. Everything else should be fine. Now that I've edited that, I can save my timesheet and go back to reviewing it. It wasn't that project. I'm going to edit it. This was for the new project that I just added that I'm working on, which is the new pipeline. I don't know the name of it yet, but I did add it, so I'm going to select that, and it'll change once I update the project name. Save timesheet, go back, review, got it. Now I can submit my time. In the upper right hand corner, submit your time. You can see that it check marks all the days of the week that have been entered and through or closed for the end of the day. Today it's still during the middle of the day, so it hasn't checked Saturday, October 19th. You can see on October 13th, Sunday, I have no timesheets, but it summarizes my time. I could select today, then go ahead and hit submit. Actually, I'm not going to submit because I have 19 hours and 30 minutes on Saturday. I could submit, however, all the days up to that, make my changes to Saturday, and then go through that and submit it again. Or let's say I didn't know if I was going to get called out today on Saturday, I could submit all my time through Friday, and then once I complete Saturday, I can submit that day. Another reason to submit time is at the end of the month. If the end of the month occurs during part of the week, you could submit through the end of the month so that we can approve time and start our billing process. Let's say Saturday completed, and I went ahead and checked this. I can submit my time, and it'll submit all of my time. Once it gets submitted, that allows your supervisor or myself or somebody to review your time, make sure that it has everything looks accurate. If there's any corrections, we can reject your time and give you an email back that says what's wrong. Maybe you missed a day of per diem, or you missed an on-call day, and you can correct it, then resubmit it. That concludes our app-based time card entry. If you watch the other video for the desktop entry, you can see that. If you have any questions or any information or have any problems, please contact me or your supervisor, and we will help you figure out anything that you have questions on. Thank you.